Last night, I left Jamie Foxx's house at 5 a.m. The house is insane. 40 acres, there's Rolls Royce outside, there's Bentleys, there's about 25 cars, there's 2 recording studios, movie rooms. It's a gigantic MTV Cribs style house. But I was so excited about the things I learned and experienced that I had to make this video to share it with you. Here's 5 interesting things right off the bat about Jamie Foxx and just the overall experience that was really shocking for me. Number 1, there is a tremendous amount of jelly at the house. Yes, jelly, like peanut butter and jelly. And it turns out Eric Bishop, AKA Jamie Foxx, that's his real name, who grew up in Texas, didn't have a lot of money, but they had a lot of peanut butter. And so for him, a real luxury was to have jelly when he grows up, so the cupboards are full of jelly. And I really like that he indulged and took care of himself when he finally got to that level. So maybe there's something there for you and me, but how can we actually treat ourselves nicely with maybe some jelly or something that we've been wanting? Number 2, they didn't discourage social media or pictures. I expected total secrecy from going to a celebrity's house, especially someone like Jamie Foxx. I asked for permission to make this video about it. They were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And the more I thought about it, the more it was actually counterintuitively genius about what they're doing. So they're saying, yeah, go and share everything. It's actually okay for people to think and talk more about Jamie Foxx and even make him more of a celebrity than the opposite. And I thought that was actually really clever in how they approached it. Number 3, there is literally always people at the house around 24/7, coming in and out, and he's never alone. So I'm sure there's some psychotherapy thing about never being alone, but it was actually really natural and beautiful to have so many people just coming in and out of the house. And it never feels crowded, and it just felt normal. It was amazing to have so many amazing talents around him, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. 4, he likes the house broken. I was trying to get ice for my vodka soda, and it turns out that almost every single ice machine was broken. And so I actually think there's 2 reasons for that. 1, I think it keeps him grounded. If you have this amazing house with all these things and it's always perfect, it's hard to really remember where you came from or stay normal. And the second thing is it says it gives him a lot of material for his comedy, which I thought was pretty funny. Last up, he supports the underdogs. So this was really interesting. There's all these people coming in and out of the house, and I love that he supports all these up and coming artists, and I'll talk about them as well in a little bit. But there is so many people living at his house. There's a guy in the couch just over there. My buddy Ricardo was sleeping on the couch. There's people sleeping in the studio. They said we could sleep outside. I don't know if they actually said that. But it really made me realize and appreciate Jamie for who he was, is that he is giving back and making sure that he is taking care of the underdogs, just like I'm trying to help you guys do that with your own businesses. I'm definitely a fan of that. We met some amazing artists in the music industry, which if you're in tech, like me, I'm never really around that kind of people. So there's 3 people we met. We met Black Tuxedo, Sela Vav, and Sam Harmonics. In the description below, we'll have their Instagram handle so you can go and check them out. We learned some amazing things from them. So first off, I gotta tell you the story Sam Harmonics told me about how he actually met Jamie Foxx and ended up living at his house and making beats for him. Or tracks, I guess as they call it in the industry. So Sam was performing at the Delilah Club in LA, and he's on stage singing Prince. And I guess, Jamie's a fan of Prince, and he's hitting the high notes. And the song is over, and Sam sees Jamie in the audience, and he goes, "Yo, Jamie, I got beats. I got beats." And he tells us the story, and it was so inspiring for me because we're all afraid of something. We're all maybe not even just afraid of being on stage, but putting yourself out there for that rejection. And if you've heard of Jamie's story and listened to him, he's also put himself out there for that rejection and failure. But guess what? It helped him get to where he wants to go. And so Sam said, "I got beats," took a chance on stage, and guess what? He ended up meeting Jamie, connecting with him, and now he's partly living in the house and making music for Jamie. So I like the phrase, "I got beats," which is, are you putting yourself out there? Are you taking that Hail Mary? Are you taking that chance for the things you really want? Second story, which I thought was really interesting, is that there's these artists there, and we only see the artist's success. We see it on the Spotify, we see the YouTube views, we see the money or whatever it is, but there's all these artists that were sleeping on the couch. How far are you willing to sacrifice for the things you really want? And I honestly found it so inspiring and respectable that they're like, yo, we want to make it in the music industry. Yes, Jamie's letting us stay, but he's not giving us any free lunches. We're going to sleep on this couch to do whatever it takes to make the music for as long as it takes to finally get it. And these people, it was wild on their sleep schedule. They were making music. We didn't leave till almost 5, and they were still making music and interacting at that time. They weren't just goofing off. It was really, really impressive. We were talking to Black Tuxedo, and he had some really amazing insights about what it's like to be a producer in the music industry. So here's 3 things that he said that really stuck out for me. Number 1, it's a career. And I'm gonna just say that one more time. It is a career, and it takes a long time. And I think with a lot of our professions, whether you're trying to be like a YouTuber, or trying to be an email marketer, or we're trying to be a teacher, or you're trying to be an e-commerce store, whatever it is you're trying to be, maybe it's a musician, whatever that is. If you think of it as a career, it's not something that's actually gonna happen overnight. It might actually take 10 years. And I like his mindset about that, where He wasn't trying to get rich and famous overnight. He's like, well, it's a career that I'm gonna be working on in many stages and involved in many time over a long period. Next up is that everyone needs a team to mix it up. And I thought this was really interesting. If you know about J. Cole and Drake, there's a lot of actual discussions about how many people helped Drake write his songs. But to like us normal people who just listen to the music and like do the little shuffle stuff, we just think he's writing everything himself. He's not. So it takes a team to create amazing things. So if you are doing YouTube, if you're doing music, if you are becoming an e-commerce store, bringing on new people, new talent, new ideas, helps you mix it up so that you don't get stale and make the same old beat over and over and never evolve. And the last thing that I was talking with Sam Harmonics about, and I really love this guy, and I hope you guys check him out on Instagram or on Spotify, he's making amazing stuff, is that sometimes you gotta work when you don't want to. And sometimes you gotta do the things when no one's watching. And that really stuck out for me, and that really resonated with me, where it's like, yeah, sometimes we're not inspired. Sometimes I don't wanna make a video, or I don't wanna do the email, or I don't wanna do the thing. And you just gotta do it. And this video, when you are feeling it, when I am excited to come talk to you about my experience there and share the lessons I learned, then you gotta go for that as well. So recognize when you're inspired and roll with it. And sometimes when you're not inspired, it's okay to be off, but sometimes you're not inspired and you gotta do the work. Suck it the fuck up and do the work. All right, so what are some key takeaways for yourself? Number one, proximity is power. So I'm spending the summer in Malibu, and it's so much easier to meet people in the entertainment industry being in this geography. It's easier to meet Jordan Belfort, who's been on the show. And yes, if you can't move right now, that's okay. But be mindful of that, is that proximity is power. So if you wanna be in tech, if you wanna be in fashion, if you wanna be in car racing, wherever it is, think about geographically, where do you have the easiest access to those kind of people or those types of things. Number two, Jamie had amazing talent around him at all times. There were movie stars hanging out, there was like his family hanging out, and there was just impressive people all around. And so it really resonated, and I know you've heard that annoying phrase, is that we're the average of the 5 people, as well as he takes care of his family, which is a whole nother story. It's amazing that he has his family living with them and how much he takes care of them and supports them. Got to meet his sister, it was awesome. But think about who you are surrounding yourself with. Next up, break the rules. Jamie has, if you've listened to his Tim Ferriss interview, which I definitely recommend, he goes and he challenges some things. And so one of the things he did was that he came back from dinner with a bucket of champagne. And I was like, why did he go to dinner with a bucket of champagne? And they said, oh, like he thought it would make the meetings more interesting. It kind of resonated with me. It's like, wow, he is making it more interesting and just accepting the reality. So how can we be the agents of change? How do we create more fun? How do we actually bring the world the things that we want, instead of just being like, oh, I guess I have to go to the meeting and do it normal? You're probably wondering, how the hell did you get to Jamie Foxx's house? And no, I didn't break in. I actually, from someone I kind of didn't really even know or remember that I've been talking to for the past few years. His name is Richard Reese, so you can see him at Richard Reese, it'll be in the description, or his site, mostrecommendedbooks.com. So it turns out Richard is the guy who got Tim Ferriss the Jamie Foxx interview, which is Tim's most popular interview of all time. Richard was able to meet Jamie through being in the movie industry in LA. I think the thing that I would take away from that is just be a little bit more mindful of the people that are asking for things, that are talking to you, because maybe you'll help them out in one thing, and in the future you can meet Jamie Foxx or whoever the hell you want to meet. 2 more things. He's a real human. It was amazing to see his photos of the wall of him with his kids, of him at a dinner, of him with Obama. There's some obviously crazy stuff. But I think what was the amazing thing about Jamie is that he's human just like us. For some reason with celebrities, we think they're way above us. And it's just nice to treat them and meet them as humans. But I think the special thing about him that I really want to encourage for you as well as for myself is that Jamie answered his calling. Hello? Oh yeah, it's for you. He followed his calling. He knew there was something with comedy, with being in living color. He knew there was something with the movies like Collateral and Ray. He knew there was something with being in music, like the song Blame It. He's actually got a lot more hits than you probably even realize. But he listened to the calling and he fully went for it. He came from Texas, moved to LA, and built a career that's super impressive. And so I'd like for you to think about that for yourself, is that what is the calling that's been out there for you that maybe you haven't answered, or maybe it's really telling you the whole time and you're like, all right, now I need to go follow it, and now I need to go do it. And lastly, one thing I want to think about for yourself, and one thing I'm thinking about for me, is that you got to stand up and you got to scream, I got beats. So what am I saying by that? Think about the Hail Marys, think about the things that you really want, that you're going after, and how are you putting yourself out there to say, yo, y'all, I got beats, Jamie Foxx, come get these beats. I'm gonna live my dream, coming out to LA, make that magical music, and live an amazing life. That was my experience with Jamie Foxx. The guy is super amazing. Hope you guys give Jamie some love, the artist I talked about some love, Richard Reese some love, as well as Neville from Copywriting Course, who was actually the dude who set it up. I appreciate and love every single one of you. I love you, and I'll see you out there. Pew, pew.